Do you know what's going on in the Central Ohio real estate market? Well, I can tell you it's not what's in the news, so if you want to know more, stick around, we'll talk about that next. Hey RT family, Ryan Reynolds here with Keller Williams Consultants Realty with your June 2025 real estate market update. So the first thing we always talk about is inventory. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about mortgage interest rates, which is a big driver of the real estate market. And the last thing we're going to talk about is what everyone wants to know about. What is my house worth now compared to what it was worth 1 year ago? So let's get started with inventory. Now, when we talk about inventory, what we're talking about are the number of homes on the market available to buy in the multiple listing service. And we compare that number to previous years. And basically, we can also compare it to a couple other metrics, which is the number of houses that are selling and the number of houses that are going into contract. And we use that as a measure of how well the market is doing. So if you look online or have seen any headlines recently, you're seeing that we're hitting inventory levels not seen in 10 years or something like that. So record high inventory levels. And that's true probably nationally, but locally we don't quite fit into that narrative. The reality is we have 3,651 houses on the market here in Greater Columbus as of today. And last year, as of today, we had 3,039 houses on the market. That is a 21% increase, but we're really only talking about a little over 600 houses. So it doesn't feel like it's that much when you have a greater population in the whole area of around 1 million people. According to the number based on closed sales, we have 1.5 months of inventory, and that's been growing. Well, that's true, and if you look at the number of houses selling, that's of course a metric that's about 30 days old, but we want to look at something more specific about what's happening today. We can look at the inventory level compared to the pending sales that are going, so the number of houses that are going into contract every day. And when we look at that number, we're actually at 1.1 months of inventory, so a much lower number. And in fact, it looks to be like that number is on a downcline, which means that the inventory is being absorbed. And so how I interpret that is that a balanced market is somewhere between 4 and 6 months. We're in a seller's market, but we're in a milder seller's market than we have been because months of inventory was down around 0.5 or 0.7 months of inventory at the height. And so right now it feels a little bit like a buyer's market, but technically it is not a buyer's market and we're really not even close. So that's what's going on with inventory. So the next thing we're going to talk about is mortgage interest rates. And specifically, we're talking about the 30-year fixed mortgage. Now, as of today, June 11th, I guess I'm stuck in the past. June 11th, 2025, the average was 6.89%. And as of a year ago, that average was 7.16% on the same day. So you can see year over year, we've come down about 1/3%. Now, more recently, we've been up over 7. We've actually been down below 6.75. And so it really hasn't changed a whole lot. If anything, there's a little bit of a gradual down slope. Now, what does that mean? So if you're a buyer, it means the rates are about the same as they were a while ago. We expect them to come down over time. The inflation index came out today, the CPI, and it was a little lower than they were expecting, but not quite as low as the target. So we're still expecting that the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates. As they lower that interest rate, what's going to happen is that the market will become more competitive because there'll be more buyers who can afford to buy houses. And the inventory, as we mentioned before, is really still kind of in a mild seller's market territory. So we could get back to multiple offers possibly this summer or maybe for sure I would think next spring. So if you're looking to buy, it probably makes sense to do that sooner than later. If you're looking to trade up, that might make sense to do sooner than later because it might be easier to buy, and yet selling still is happening within about 30 days. And so it's not a very hard market to sell a house in. Though I will comment to say that houses that are selling quickly are the ones that are in the best condition, in the best location in the subdivisions or wherever they are, and in the best school districts. So those things pretty much ring true all the time. So the last thing we're going to talk about is what most people want to know is how much is my house worth today versus what it was worth a year ago. Now, if you've seen the national news again, what they're saying is home prices are coming down. And that is actually not true in our area. What has been happening over the past few months is that the rate of home price growth has come down. We went from 4.3% to 4.1%. I believe last month was like 3.8 or 9%. So now this month, compared to last year this month, we're actually up 6.9% for the average house price of the home closing. Now, if you look at the year-to-date numbers, it smooths out a little bit more, and we're actually at 3.8% overall, which is a little bit below that 4% glide path. But as I mentioned, I expect things to pick up here toward the end of the year, and I expect prices to go up. And so likely that will be happening, and homes will cost more next year than they do this year. So That's all I have for you today. My name again is Ryan Reynolds. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams Consultants Realty. If you have questions about your specific situation, please feel free to reach out and we'll do an analysis and help you figure out exactly where you are and what you can do to best take advantage of today's market. Now, you probably thought I was about to say the Ryan Reynolds team, unlimited opportunities and exceptional experiences. And while that has been our tagline, this month we've decided to adopt a new tagline from here on out. And that will be, as always, the Ryan Reynolds team guiding you to the home that fits your life. Have a great month, everyone. We'll see you next time.